Extra stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
extra stuff. Might as well.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been able to guess a couple years ago that we'd have been sitting in front of a camera giving away your secrets.
Yeah, I really didn't want to, but nobody else is. I'm hoping. Look, I'll say this: if there's anybody else that wants to be my guest, please. If there's another irrigation company that's big, making money, doing good, please, just, start a podcast. Start giving out some information, please. I'm always willing to learn.
I mean, sometimes it might come from them just talking to the smaller guys around them because I mean we run into these people at parts houses and stuff like that. I've seen them at houses next to me when I'm working.
What, asking you questions or what?
I mean, not asking questions, but like just seeing small time guys beside you. You could actually help them out a lot sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, I just wish like the owner of Andy's or somebody big or Conserva or like one of them would start a podcast.
Yeah.
Nobody, they don't want to. The big guys don't want to. Nobody. Wish somebody would. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I guess what we got here? We got some good stuff today. It looks like. We'll let some people join in with us.
Let's chilling for a minute.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say we could jump to this. We just jump to just get this, then maybe jump back to that. Wait for some people to join, or just wait for a chat message. Is all we really got to do.
Yeah, we wait for a second. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was slow.
Yeah, I was busy.
It took a while.
Yeah. What do you mean it took a while?
What did I say?
It took a while.
What I mean by took a while is it was kind of uneventful, I guess. I mean, you got to remember, like, everybody else, a lot of people I know, there's two different ways that I see people having Thanksgiving, right? I see people that, like, they all have a gathering, and there's, like, let's say there's 20 people, but there's at least 5 people in the room that pretend to get along with each other.
Oh, yeah.
See, but that's a 20-to-5 ratio. My family's the whole 20 that doesn't get along with each other, and they don't pretend. So we don't do Thanksgiving.
That's funny. No, half of my family doesn't get along, so they do their own Thanksgiving and we do our own.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's become over the years. But
it works out because everybody that gets together is all the people that get along. So we have a good time.
True. Well, it's officially 11. You ready to get started?
Yeah, you had some stuff you want to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So we were recently, a couple of us were recently engaged in a discussion on, I think it was the Real Irrigators Tech Talk. There was a big comment thread about just invoicing in general.
Yeah, people not getting paid, having $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of unpaid invoices.
Yeah, I mean there was guys so far as saying that they were still mailing invoices.
Yeah, which is nuts.
I don't even think, even when we started, we weren't sending invoices. We were always collecting on site.
Yeah, when I was doing mowing and landscaping, I would email invoices and wait to get paid.
How'd that go?
Yeah, I always had. I mean, I was there. I used to be there. At the end of the year, have at least $10,000 of unpaid invoices.
And what do you do with that?
There's nothing. I mean, when you
kiss it goodbye, watch it go down the drain.
Especially in mowing, yeah. When you're invoicing, all the mowing stuff would be less than $100. $300 or less, you can't do nothing really. You can't file liens. It costs over $300 to file a lien, so that's out. You can put it on their credit, send it to a debt collector, but what are you going to, I mean, you have to have all the signatures. You got to have all of your T's crossed, your I's dotted, just to get 40-50% of that back.
Well, I think, yeah, and then I think also too, we go back to invoicing on site. There's a couple different issues that people were talking about on the comment thread. One, which I think this is where some of your expertise will come in, is customers not being there.
Yeah.
You can't collect on site if the customer's not there to collect. So how did we fix that problem?
Yeah, we don't show up if they're not going to be there. I don't want to. We tell them on the phone, the customer needs to be there. And we still get some people that we tell them that, they say, okay, and we show up and they're not there. I want to leave. I don't want to deal with that. We'll call. We can call them, but it's that at that point it's kind of a case by case. But we still let them know we're taking payment over the phone if we're going to do that job. But we have a way to take payments over the phone. That we're taking payment that day. If we show up and they're not there, we're going to call them. They don't answer, we're leaving, or we're just not doing it. We're not playing that game. Yeah. Why would we perform the service and they get the service they wanted and they get to choose when they pay us, if at all? No, we're not doing it.
No, it's not worth it. It never is.
Never is.
The only time that we've seen any success with, not being able to invoice on site is when you get there, customer's not there, you call them, you're like, hey, we're not performing any work unless you agree. And once the work is done, when I call you back, we're taking payment over the phone. Now, we've had some decent success with that.
Yeah.
Usually once customers, most of our customers, once they usually agree on something, they're usually pretty good about it. Usually. Yeah. We still get some stragglers.
Yeah, there's some stragglers. If you can talk to them over the phone, email them the estimate to get all your signatures, that has to be done. No, we're not going to have them agree over the phone. We're going to email them the estimate. They're going to sign on it, sign the invoice. Then we'll do the work. Then we're going to call them back, collect payment over the phone. And that way, at least if when we call them back to collect payment, they don't answer, we have something to send to the debt collector.
Yeah, and then there was a couple guys on the comment forum that, they were talking about this. And, I imagine one of the biggest things is, as far as, obviously one of the biggest invoices with not invoicing on site is non-payments. So, a lot of people, you get people saying, well, you got to have so much to put a lien on their house or whatever it is, when in reality, nobody wants to do that.
Well, yeah, it costs, I've looked at it, it costs probably, $400 to do that or so. You have to send a letter of intent to file a lien, wait for that, and then do the lien process. And I think a lot of them were talking about their winterizations. They don't, they have these customers that they're already lined out to do winterizations and they're just scheduling. They're talking about, I saw this too. They already have like a bunch of customers, like a route they're trying to follow for winterizations. And when the customer is, like when it's convenient for them to show up, the customer isn't going to be home. I will say, if you're a one-man show, maybe two-man, that is a problem, because you're like, I'm in this city, I'm in this neighborhood this week, and next week I'm in a totally different area. And if that customer's not there, you don't want to have to come back. So you're trying to get them all done. Those problems go away when you grow. Because now we have technicians all over. So I don't, if we call a customer and say we want to do your winterization on Tuesday and they're not home on Tuesday, I'll do it on Wednesday. I'll do it on Thursday, Friday, next week. It doesn't matter, because no matter what day they're home, I have a technician there. So as you grow, you will outgrow those problems when you hire more people. But when you're a one-man show, I get that, because you're like, I'm in this neighborhood, I'm doing 20 in that neighborhood. You're in that neighborhood. I want to do you today. I don't want to come back a week later when I'm not around there.
So yeah, and that was another thing too, is, other forms of non-payable that people worry about obviously are credit cards. And it seemed like one of the biggest leaps we got from Service Titan was getting those signatures. I'm pretty sure there's been quite a few credit card payments you've been able to send back to the credit card company that people have tried to put stop payments on.
Did they bring that up?
I don't think it was brought up in the forum, but I feel like there's probably invoicing customers has got to be its own thing, right? There's a lot of headaches that come with invoicing customers. And one of the things, you start getting into credit cards, people worry about stop payments, people worry about people stopping checks.
Yeah, I really don't.
To me, invoicing, sending the customer an invoice is just, to me, is like an easy way out.
Yeah, they'll pay it at their convenience.
Yeah, and their convenience might be never.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're not even trying to do it. They're just looking at it and thinking, "I'll do that later. I'll do that later." A week goes by, they still haven't done it. Then a lot of them aren't even trying to not pay it. Only a few of them are. It puts more work on you to have to chase them down for money. And
we don't got time for that.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
No.
You can't go to Walmart, fill up your grocery cart full of groceries, walk out and say, "All right, I'll get you next week."
No, you can't do that.
No, it's not. We're not doing that either. This is not.
And somebody gave me this ideology one time. Of course, it's really not something you want to like act on in a regular customer environment. But if you start really paying attention to your customers, when you're walking the property with them or just talking to them or whatever, if you start picking out little things like, okay, he's got like a Michael Kors belt, or he's got like a pair of Oakleys or something, and I've had to do this one time. I had one customer that was just absolutely adamant about this was too much money. I'm not paying this. Blah 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 blah. And I looked at him and I was like, when you went to the Oakley store, did you tell them the Oakleys were too expensive, or did you pay it? And if you did say that the Oakleys were too expensive, what did they say?
What did he say?
Nothing. He paid the invoice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just. I mean, these people know that they have to pay this stuff. They're just trying to find a way out, and I get it. We all want to get off cheaper. We all want to find a way out. But when you go to the Oakley store, you don't have a way out. The best you're going to get is maybe a 5% discount. Maybe you'll get 10% if you're military or they're running a special or something like that. But outside of that, you go to a retail store, you pick something out, whatever the price is on it, you're paying that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to pay us same day too.
And then if they, and this is, I think this is something we could start doing. I just don't know how we'd incorporate it. So one of the biggest things I remember growing up in stores was layaway. Yeah. Now, when you ask for layaway or you ask like a retailer for a discount, what do they tell you to do? Well, you can apply for our credit card and get 15% off today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing we need to talk about too. If we're talking about, since we're on the invoicing topic, and this is not something Jobber allowed us to do. So this might be something that they have to work towards. But
Jobber probably has, or you can get a separate.
Yeah, it's a third-party entity, which, I mean, technically this is even still a third-party entity, but it's hooked with ServiceTitan. Offering financing, we've had a decent amount of success with it. It's as long as they're approved. There's a lot of people that are scared of financing, but then there's quite a few people that have been like, well, the financing, yep, that's fine. All your big companies doing it. HVAC's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
What you'll find a lot of times, your customers are already used to this platform. They're already used to this platform.
Oh, people are doing Affirm. I mean, Walmart offers Affirm at the self-checkout for your grocery. Everybody's doing Affirm, or pretty much any online retailer is offering financing, 0 interest. If you're looking at $1,500 cash or $1,500 0 interest over 12 months, I mean, I would probably, why not pay $1,500 0% over 12 months and keep the $1,500 in your bank?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why would you? There's I actually think it was Warren Buffett that said it. They were asking him about what he thought about credit cards and debit cards and people using their own money. And his only response was, why would I pay for something with my money?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I swipe my debit card at the gas station or at the retailer or overseas or at I think he said like even just a phone booth. Why would I want to risk my money being taken, or why would I want to spend my money when I can spend somebody else's money?
Yeah, at 0%, I'm going to use somebody else's money for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, offering finance is huge. If you can close 10% more jobs offering financing, I mean, that's huge to your business. But, going back to the invoicing on site, that's going to help your cash flow.
You're not going to have a break in cash flow.
Yeah.
And you need cash flow to grow.
Yeah, that's so huge. You have bills to pay that are due right now. You can't just send invoices. And I used to be sending invoices, and I used to think, well, if I send $10,000 in invoices, I made $10,000. But I didn't have that money yet. I was just I'm hoping that all of that's going to get paid. I'm waiting for it, but it all gets paid.
Yeah, you're sitting there watching the account, waiting for the invoice total to get paid, and you're just like
waiting for it to trickle in. But if you take payments on site, then you get that money
instantly.
Day.
Yeah. Yeah, you're sitting there waiting for their payment, but your bills aren't waiting for you to get that payment.
Yeah.
Your bills, what you need to grow, your vehicles, your guys are going to have to get paid.
Yeah.
I challenge somebody to say, well, I'll pay you once the customers pay me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Commercial is a little different. If you're heavy on commercial, if you are a real big commercial company, that's hard. We're mostly residential. So I even tell commercial clients, because I don't want them necessarily, or, I want them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to bend on that rule. If a restaurant calls me, we'll go out there, but we're still going to tell them we're getting paid same day. And we've had some commercial, not so much restaurants, but more of like, we'll get a fencing company that'll call us and say, hey, we're out here at a customer's house. We just punched the hole right through their sprinkler system. We need you to come fix it. Yeah, we can come. We can come right now. But we need to be paid same day.
Yeah.
Well, you got to send that to our accounts payable department. Nope.
No, we don't. No, we're not.
We're going to.
Because they won't pay it.
Yeah. Or they will, but it'll be too much for now. We're not doing that. Somebody needs to be on site to pay with a card or over the phone.
Yeah,
if they say no, call somebody else, man. We're not going to come be your hero for your customer and not get paid today. You pay us today.
Yeah. I worked with it was me and Damon. We went to it was a company, it was a gas company, Matterson?
I don't know.
Masterson? It's like a propane.
Oh, yeah.
It's a gas company. They fill bottles, they transport bottles. I don't know what all they do there, but I remember going to this place, and I was on my way to the job, and it's in because we're based out of DFW, and I'm looking around, and we're on freaking Harry Hines, and I'm looking around like, man, there's like strip clubs everywhere. Like, where am I going? And we pull up to this like beautifully remodeled like gas company building, and I pull up, and there's like rotors running, and it's flooded the entire street. Come to find out, they've been running for weeks, and I'm like, oh great, a commercial property. Wonder how this is going to go. So and this is the one thing I hate about commercial jobs is getting the right person and getting organization happening, right? Because especially when you're trying to walk into a like a gas company where you gotta have a freaking key card to even get in the building, and you're trying to get a hold of somebody. It took me forever to get a hold of I guess he was the plant manager. He was the only one that had any authority whatsoever to do or say anything, and it took me forever to get him. Finally got him, and luckily I'd already figured out what the issue was. Come to find out, this was really funny. The controller was in the freaking attic because I show up, and I'm like, I finally get him. I tell him everything that's going on. I'm like, okay, where's the controller? I need to check that, and then we'll start here. And they're like, controller, what's that? I'm like, this has a controller somewhere. They didn't even know where it was.
Oh man.
So anyway, but what baffled me, I guess, in a way, is he was just, when I gave him the price, I think it was like, I think total in repairs to fix everything, it was like, I think it was like maybe 2,000 somewhere, some $2,000-$3,000 invoice. And he's just like, okay, hold on a second. And I'm waiting for him to say, well, you got to send that to, like you said, accounts receivable. And I'm like, nah, we got time for this. I'll go somewhere else. He goes in he gets on the phone. He calls. He's like, hey, irrigation guys are here. I need the credit card. Need the credit card approval. The invoice is like, I want to say it was like 28 something. He's like 28.91. And they were like, yep, you're good. And he wanted, and the cool thing was, and this was really cool too. He wanted to pay me up front. He was like, once I get a clear on the credit card, we got to use it now.
Mm.
So he was like, I got to go ahead and pay you first, then you can start. And I'm like, well, I ain't gonna say no to that.
Yeah.
Normally I gotta like get my baseball bat out or everything else at the end of the day to kind of like get the guy to pay me. He was just like, you gotta take the money now.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Yeah, not much.
But that was one of the better commercial property things I ran into. But yeah.
Yeah,
excuse the language, but fuck invoicing and not invoicing and collecting payments on site.
No, yeah, we stand by that rule. I don't care who they are. We're just not gonna. Why should we come out and do the work if we're not gonna get paid?
Catching our guys sending invoices is almost a write up.
Oh yeah, it's getting to that point for sure. Because you'll get these landscapers. When we work for landscapers, turf guys, all this stuff that you think you build a relationship with.
Liars.
They are liars because you'll send an invoice, they pay it. You send another invoice, they pay it, and they always pay the small ones. They call you out for like, oh, I got this one head broken, this two heads broken, and then as soon as they have something serious, you call them, you tell them, they say do it, you send them the invoice, and then they just ghost you. Then I've had that happen with multiple companies.
Yeah.
As soon as the invoice breaks $300. I've send one for $800, $1,200, then they just don't talk to you anymore.
Why, as a commercial company, are you running around without? Why am I talking to someone that's not able to approve more than $20? Why am I talking to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and
then they want to say, well, you got to send it to accounts receivable. I can't get you that much approval. When I hear that, I'm thinking, why do you? It sounds like to me you need to have a contract with somebody.
Yeah.
If you can't pay invoices as they come to you, like on site, then you need to have a contract that your account office can deal with.
Yeah, I mean, this is y'all's problem. Like that, fence companies punching pipes, breaking wires. That's y'all's problem. Hey,
we're here to fix it.
Yeah, you want it fixed. You're gonna have to pay us. This is your mess up, your customer, your job.
And I'm sure there's quite a few guys on the forums and stuff, and really other people out in the world that would probably argue, well, y'all are losing a lot of revenue not dealing with those people, and we probably are, but it's not worth the headache.
Yeah, we might be losing revenue, but we're losing out on a lot of headaches.
Yeah. We don't have guys sitting on jobs for 30 minutes waiting on these commercial guys to figure out what planet they're on, first of all, before you even get there. Even though they get all these texts and emails saying what time we're going to be there, you get there and they're still like jumping through hoops like, oh, well, I'm on the way, or you went to the wrong property, or blah, 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 blah. And then you talk to the person, you finally get the person, and they're just like, they don't know anything about anything. They're just like, well, I'm just here to show you. I don't want you.
Yeah, and their signature, you get an approval, but their signatures hold no water because it's just some guy signing off for a property that's not his. None of it matters. Even if you get an approval, you send the invoice, it doesn't get paid, then you're like, well, this guy says, oh yeah, but that guy, I'm just not doing the runaround with them no more.
No, it's not worth it.
Yeah, we'll do the runaround after we get paid.
Yeah, not beforehand.
Yeah, not beforehand.
So, well, I don't see any questions, so I don't think anybody joined in. But yeah, I mean, we probably have to touch on it a couple more times.
Yeah, I think the biggest one though was just if they already have a client base and they're trying to follow a route. I would say get a card on file.
Yeah, even if you want to invoice, once you're done, if you don't like, maybe you don't like swiping credit cards, or maybe you don't have a swiper on hand, but the thing you could do, at home or at your computer is take a card on file for the customer and put it whatever you got, software wise. If save it to the customer. If you're still using files, papers, write it down in there and then invoice that credit card. Say, hey, I'm going to take your credit card on file. Whatever your visit fee is or whatever, tell them they're obligated to that, and then just charge the card afterwards.
Yeah, you can store it in QuickBooks without having any. If all you have is QuickBooks, you can store it on QuickBooks. And I wouldn't even, if you have 1,000 winterization customers or however many, I would make sure all 1,000 of those have a card on file. If you're gonna,
just run through.
And anybody that says no, I'm not putting a card on file, okay, well then I need you to be there at the time of service. And if they're not going to do either one of those two things,
they were going to skip out on payment anyway.
Yeah. Tell them to bounce. They can pounce in.
Or even if they weren't going to skip out on payment, they were going to wait and pay it at their own leisure.
Yeah, that's what you don't want. That's what we're trying to avoid. And don't think of it as a loss. Think of it as a gain. Yeah. You gain more time to do somebody else.
Your family doesn't wait to eat.
Yeah.
Why should we wait to get paid? And they didn't wait for our service.
They're not.
They called. We showed up.
Mm-hmm.
We fixed their problem. We helped them. They didn't have to wait for that. We came as soon as we could.
Yeah, if we all take that mentality,
people will stop doing this.
Yeah, people will stop.
They're taking advantage of people like that.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of you doing that
because they won't call us because they know that they got to pay it.
Yeah, so they'll call you because they can do that,
and
then they'll pay you whenever they feel like it. Don't let them do it.
No. So anyway, we got that. Let's get into some of this. We're getting into a time where it's starting to get really cold. Even here in Texas, it's starting to get cold. We're not Florida by any means, but, if it's starting to get cold in Texas, chances are it's pretty cold everywhere else. So, for, some of the irrigation guys that, aren't going to drop everything they own and start doing Christmas lights, I think we got some good strategies here to help people out in the wintertime.
Yeah, I've been seeing this post a lot. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about it.
What do I do after blowouts? Or all my blowouts are done,
I think the people up north, once they do blowouts, they're doing other stuff. For people down here that don't
blowout,
don't do blowouts. That I always see this every winter. People start slowing down, and then they want to think about leads. They don't think about leads in the summer whenever they have plenty of work. They think about it when they slow down. The time to think about leads for this winter was last winter, and the time to think about leads for next winter is right now. If you're slowing down, it's going to be hard. You got to really prepare for this because a lot of people, they get to this time of year and they think, well, I can just turn on some Google, I can run some Facebook ads, and it doesn't work that way. You have to really prepare for this stuff. You got to get ahead of it. Get 12 months ahead of it. Get 24 months ahead of it. Now I'm going to show you why here in a second. Just really, you got to really get ahead of this stuff. We'll get into some lead sources, but let's get into the pay-per-click because I've been seeing people talk about turning on pay-per-click for Google. In order to properly do pay-per-click, you cannot just turn this on. You have to have a killer website. If you don't have a killer website, you're going to have to make some killer landing pages because they're clicking on an ad and going to your website or your landing page. And then whatever they're seeing, that's what's enticing them. I mean, your copy on their ad has to be good. Whatever the headline on the ad has to be good. Then the landing page has to be good. The call to action has to be good. Your offer has to be good. The keywords you're targeting have to be good. Your negative keywords have to be dialed in. This is why you need a manager. That's why you need a good website. This is why really you need to be focused on this all the time. Once you get all this dialed in, then you can start turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, or dialing it up, dialing it down.
Yeah. Because like we've said in almost every episode, Google has no issue taking your money.
Yeah, you can, because I see people saying, well, I'm just going
to turn Google off. It's not working.
Yeah, they're going to try it themselves. Do not try it yourself. They will take as much money as you're willing to give them. And
give you nothing.
And give you nothing in return.
Because they can get away with it. And they've done it to us.
Yeah, exactly.
I got your thingy over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so really, you need a pay-per-click manager who knows how to set this up. And one thing I wanted to say about this, if you're going to hire a manager, all this stuff can be done virtually. So don't, if you're in Kansas City, don't look up pay-per-click manager or, website builder, Kansas City. It can be done virtually. So you can hire, hire who you think's best and that fits your budget. So you can, if you think that person's in Arizona or LA or Dallas, hire them. It doesn't have to be in your area. Because I see people doing that here, even in this little town, Rockwall. I mean, Rockwall's little, I would say, compared to some of the other cities. But they'll get on there and just want to find somebody local to this little town of however many people, 100,000 people to do. But I think what are the odds you're going to find somebody who's killer in that town? Maybe small. I want to look at the whole country. I mean, I've hired Google companies out of Canada. Look at this whole side of the world. I mean, you could really go the whole world, but then you have time differences. Look at this whole side of the world, U.S., Canada. Find out who you think is the best for you that fits your budget. Hire them. Don't limit yourself in that sense. There's no reason to. But hire a manager. Make sure your website is dialed in. Landing pages are dialed in. They'll go over that stuff with you. But this is also important too. Even if you have all that stuff right, this is the time of year that things get slow. So we run pay-per-click all year. And a lot of people, they're in the summertime. They're not thinking about leads. They don't need them. They get to this time of year, then they want leads. Here's the problem. We turned our pay-per-click off because usually in the summer we're getting our cost per click is around $20. I think a couple episodes ago it was like $24. I read our marketing report.
Yes.
It was like $24, which came out to like a $70 cost per conversion. Sorry. Now the cost per click jumped up. It jumped up to $62 and it was continuing to rise. $62 for one click and a 27% conversion rate. So only 27% of those clicks converted to a form fill, a phone call, anything like that. And just because they filled out a form doesn't mean you even booked that call. And the 27% conversion rate is actually really good on pay-per-click. So what that turns out to is a $226 cost per conversion.
So I do want it to be known that apparently clicking go live is an important part of a live stream.
Oh, you never click go live?
No.
Oh my God. Are we at least recording?
We're still recording, but we missed the entire front half of the live stream. So.
Good God.
Yeah.
Always
so get a manager.
Jesus.
You don't pay me enough.
Well, at least we got it recorded.
Yeah. Now everybody knows there's no script.
Yeah, there's definitely no script.
Oh, man. Yeah, and you don't fuck up scripts. Well,
Yeah.
it's weird because it's got the funny thing was it was sending it out, but YouTube wasn't broadcasting it, so
That's weird.
it's like we got a fresh start.
There's always something with the stream. I feel like we always got to reset mics or do something.
Just pretend like the last 20 minutes was not a waste of your life, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm not restarting. Yeah, so now we're up to $226 cost per conversion because the cost per click's at $62. So even if you have all this stuff dialed in with your website, your ad copy's great, it's $226 just to get them to fill out a form or call you. Then if your booking rate's at 80%, that cost per conversion is going to go up. Then this is really why you have to know your KPIs. What's your conversion rate on those jobs? Is it 50%? Is it 70%? 90%? because that's going to increase your cost per conversion. What's your average ticket? If you're charging $120 an hour, $140 an hour, you've already lost money. You already lost. You're going to run out of money so fast. You have to have you can make these numbers work if your average ticket's $900. I mean, you're not going to make a huge profit, but you can make these numbers work depending on what your booking rate is, your conversion rate is.
An average ticket of $900.
Yeah, you can make that work. If your booking rate's 80%, your conversion rate is 70, 80%.
I just want to hear you say that again, just so we know. $900 average ticket.
Yeah, $900. I mean, you could make that work, but if your average,
no, I'm not saying the price would definitely work. I'm saying like feasibly $900 average ticket, not average ticket. We're talking about average ticket.
Yeah,
that's not exactly attainable for a lot of people.
It's tough.
It's very
but
tough.
We don't.
I mean, we attain it all the time. I'm just saying,
some of our guys do, some don't.
Yeah,
it's hard to do that across.
I just want to make it known how probably very hard it is to attain a $900 average ticket.
Well, no, that's why we shut this down.
Yeah.
People get to the wintertime and they think, oh, now I'm going to turn these ads on. We turn it off because.
Yeah, because they're waiting. I would guarantee you they're doing that because they know that everybody's going to use more of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the cost per click goes off. It's a bit. You're bidding on clicks. That's how this works. It's an auction. So the wintertime, there's less leads available because less people are using their sprinklers. Less people are looking for work. So people are bidding more for the clicks. All the big companies that charge more, that have a sales process dialed in, they know how to book the call. They know how to sell the job. They can pay more. Whoever can pay more per conversion is going to win every time because there are some companies out there that are still paying this. They may be paying this foolishly, but they're still paying it. Maybe they know they can make it work. Maybe they don't, but they're still paying this. I mean, that's a lot. Because if you're in the hole, I mean, it's $226 per customer, plus you're not even going to be booking 100%. You're not even going to convert 100%.
No. I would say probably average. Most companies are going to have a conversion rate of somewhere in the 60% range or 50% range.
Probably so. And then you got to still pay gas, insurance. You pay your technicians. You got to pay for part. So that's why I'm saying $900 average ticket.
And still, at the end of the day, you got to have money too.
Yeah, just to make a little bit of profit. $900 average ticket. So
I know when it was just the three of us and you were having to do every single thing all by yourself. I think your lead conversion rate was like 38% for converting leads.
Oh yeah, my booking rate. Yeah.
Yeah, booking rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would guess our conversion rate was probably similar. I don't know. We probably had high conversion rates back then.
Yeah, we had some cheaper prices.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gets to be too much. And if you don't know these numbers, and we have these campaigns dialed in, our negative words are dialed in. Like we do this all year. We're always working on our pay-per-click campaigns. Our website is new. Our headlines for our ads, everything's dialed in, and it's still expensive. There's just nothing you can do about it. So it's not a reliable. You can't get to the end of the year and think, I'm going to turn this on.
No, absolutely not. Actually, this is the time to turn it off.
Yeah, unless you're crushing it on average ticket. Or you can come up with...
Well, to me, this looks like a ploy for Google to turn the price up, to push us out and get some other people in because they know that we're probably not willing to pay that. But there might be some other people that are willing to pay it, not realizing that it's not really benefiting them as much as they think.
Yeah, I mean, the price will, like, it's $62 a click now, but in the spring it'll go back down to.
Yeah, and in the summertime they want us. They're going to lower the price because they want us to come in there and pay for it because they know our budget won't end.
Well, it's just a bidding thing. And once there's a bunch of people looking for sprinkler work, it's going to lower the price because then there's an abundance.
Yeah.
It's just supply and demand. Yeah. You have, that's why I'm saying you have to really prepare for what are you going to do in the winter a year out. There's other things. You're going to have to really get creative on this. I mean, Robert Gould with Well Done, he's huge on networking groups. I mean, what do you say? Like 3 times a week, he's at a different networking group.
Yeah, those are big. Those are helpful.
Yeah.
Get your even if anything, it's helpful for getting your name out in the world.
Yeah. Meeting with other contractors, get referrals from them. But this is the things I would be thinking about. Now, I don't do those. I don't have time to do those. But if you have time, that's where I would be putting my energy. Networking groups. You can try direct mail. I'd rather do direct mail than I would put my money in this. Local listings. We were just looking at the good contractors list. That's only available in Dallas. But things like that where they do the advertising, they're getting people to come to their website to look for contractors, and we're on there. Door to door. Even if you're just, every time you have a job, you're putting a postcard on the 5 houses around it, the 10 houses around it. You just hit just in the vicinity.
Well, we want to make sure, because, based off of pretty much what the good contractors list is, we want to make sure we're not, because I see a lot of people asking this in the comment threads too, and in the groups about, stuff like Angie's List.
Yeah. Angie's List. I don't know. I used them years ago, and I got a lot of leads off of them. I don't use them anymore. A lot of people said they start off strong and
taper off.
You just got to track it. Track everything. Set up call tracking numbers. Set up a landing. If you have a website, set up a landing page that is only used for Angie's List. So when you put your website on Angie's List, it's not going to your homepage. It's going to a landing page that is only geared for the Angie's List customers, and then a call tracking number, things that you can track. So you don't have to take people's word for it. And if you think, well, some people are saying Angie's List works, some people don't, call them up and say, I want a 3-month trial. They'll probably give you a 3-month trial. And if they say, no, it's 12 months only, then tell them, no, I'm not interested. I want a 3-month trial. And what I did when I was on Angie's List is I told them I want to be at the top of the list, because it wasn't like pay per lead. It was a list, and you got to pay to be at the top of the rank. And customers would just search and see a list of contractors. And I said, I want the top. What do I need to spend to be at the top? They told me. And I said, all right, I'll do that. And we got a lot of leads. I just didn't renew the next year. And I wasn't tracking back then either. But if you can track, if you know you're spending $12,000 a year with them and it gets you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in revenue, okay, well then you can track that. I know what our LSA, our pay-per-click, our good contractors list. We were just looking. Good contractors list wasn't great. I remember what it was. Good contractors list, we spent $8,100 to be on there. It produced like $29,000, I think, in revenue. So it was like a 3x return. Not, it's not. LSA is like 10x. Pay per click can be a lot bigger. What is that?
Year-to-date analytics, what you were just talking about.
Oh, but that's not for one particular campaign.
No, they're all here.
Gotcha.
You're really supposed to be the one that knows where this stuff is in that software.
No, I do. I just didn't know what you pulled up. Oh, yeah. So Chirp, which is a text platform, and I've seen people hate on doing outbound.
They work.
But Chirp, I probably spent less than $8,000 because it's cheaper than the good contractors list, and we're at $50,000 of revenue off that. So, look at that return. Pay per click. Pay-per-click we only use really as capacity planning. We turn it up and turn it down, turn it up and turn it down. I don't have what we spent total, but 74,000 of revenue off of pay-per-click. Yeah, I don't know, but I like to see. So good contractors list, we had like a 3x return. That's probably as low as I would go. It's a lot of people around here in Dallas like it. It's okay, 3x return. I'll take it. I'm not thrilled about it, but it's cheap, and so I'll do it.
There's all of them.
Okay.
It was only showing me the top 5. I opened the top 10. Now you should be able to see them all.
Interesting.
So there's a good contractors list right there.
Yeah. Yeah, LSA, that's the calls, but that doesn't include all the messages. Main number. Yeah, and pay-per-click, that's 74,000 in pay-per-click. That's just calls. That doesn't include form fills either. That's the only thing about this report. 8,000 on timer stickers. I don't know if people are putting timer stickers, but
They work.
$8,000 or 7,000 on timer stickers. That doesn't cost you anything really, except just to make some stickers. Another thing I always see people talking about, I always see people say word of mouth advertising is the best. But I want to be clear about this. Word of mouth is not advertising. That's an add-on. And I say that because it's not controllable. Advertising and marketing is something that's controllable.
Yeah, you don't know what those people are saying when they refer you.
Yeah, well, and you can't move it. You can't move it up and down. Now, if you want to make a referral program where you're telling people for every customer you refer, you get a gift card or however you want to do it, and you can track it. They have a link, and you give your customer a unique link that they can send out, something you can track, something that you can implement, track. Yes, it will cost a little bit of money. That, like a referral program like that, is advertising. But just word of mouth, something that's just running in the background that you don't have any idea of what's going on, that's not advertising. That's just you not wanting to do anything. That's what that is. And saying, oh, word of mouth's the best. It might be the best, but it's not advertising.
Depends on what you're calling the best.
True. Also, yeah. I mean, it's the best. People say it's the best because it's free. It's free. But
Yeah.
You have no control over it. You can't dial it up. You can't dial it down.
It's definitely not going to be. It's definitely, if you start marketing right and advertising right and doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's never going to be one of your top categories of lead generation.
No.
I got an idea. I'd be curious about this, and I bet somebody else might be too. If I could get this to act right. I would be curious to know, if you can find it in here, how many leads total we got from LSA across the year to date.
Oh, yeah, it was on there. Well, this won't show the total amount of leads. Because there's messages that aren't on here, but there's
just something simple.
4,338 calls.
Off of just LSA ads.
Off of LSA.
And then what about pay-per-clicks, since we're talking about that? That looks like 512.
512, yeah.
And then good contractors list, 68.
Yeah.
Where are the timer stickers at? 66 leads off of just timer stickers. People calling the number off the timer stickers. 6,000 leads, people calling off the main number. I mean, that's skewed.
Yeah, the main number's on the side of the van.
Yeah.
But yeah, like LSA 4,338. That doesn't include all the mess. I would say you could probably add another 20 or 30%. Probably. It's hard to say, man. Really, I would say 30%. Could be a little less. Could be a little more on messages. We get a lot of messages, and some days you get 10, 15 messages a day. Some days you don't get but 2 or 3.
And then where was Chirp at? Well, we just started Chirp though.
Yeah, Chirp.
214.
Yeah, we started.
But look, this is what I like.
in the summer.
But look at the book on it. 214 leads and 196 booked.
Yeah, it's a high booking rate.
Yes, that's very high. That's our outbounds, by the way.
Yeah, outbound. That's our outbound number.
Yeah,
and if you,
that's people saying that outbounds don't work.
Yeah, no, I saw some guy that was like, I've literally never reached out to any of my customers. If they need something from me, they can call me. And it's like, oh yeah, well, in like 6 months, that was 43,000 in revenue. If 6 months, maybe 4 months.
Yeah, I don't even think it's been. I think it's only been 4 months. 214 leads. Yeah, like you said, 44,000 in revenue.
Well, let's just say it's 6 months. If it was 6 months, I've spent $3,900 and we produced,
43,000 off of 39 put in.
43,246.
That's definitely a 10x return.
Yeah, that's a 10x. That's what I like. I like to see 10x return. 8 to 12. So, sit over there and not reach out to your customers all day long. I will.
We will. We'll reach out to your customers.
Yeah.
We still have people that we go on the first visit. They don't like our prices, and they'll call somebody else, and then they call somebody else, and then they're like, well, they were good, but I didn't like their experience, so I called y'all again.
Yeah.
We're reaching out to them. Now they're our customer now. We're reaching out to them. And even if we went out there, and this is the thing about outbounds, if we went out there, the customer ended up, was like, well, they're more expensive than I want to pay, and then they, now they're calling you, now you're doing their work. Well, they're still going to get our outbounds.
Yeah, they're still getting our outbounds.
Yeah, so if we run a special and they're like, ooh,
yeah,
they're going to call.
Back to us. Yeah, to just not do that is crazy to me.
There you go.
Okay.
Don't touch that.
You have to really know what your KPIs are in order to do any type of marketing. I mean, you have to be able to track this stuff. Call tracking numbers. You can set up trackable QR codes, landing pages. This stuff has to be dialed in, and you got to know your KPIs. What's your average ticket? What's your booking rate? What's your conversion rate? At least those 3. In order to know what you can spend on marketing and what marketing's working. You can listen to some other people say, well, this worked, this didn't work. You can get some ideas, but try it out for yourself. I think we've tried everything. I've tried Thumbtack, tried Angie's List before they joined with Home Advisor.
I've seen some people post about Thumbtack in some of the tech talks too. What was Thumbtack experience like for us?
I killed it on Thumbtack when I was doing mowing, but with Sprinkler, I didn't like it because they make you put a price in, like your price for the service call is visible, and I didn't like that because the people that were always at the top were advertising $19, $29 service calls or free service calls, and those are the people that got the clicks. Yeah. Well, because you would get a lead and then you would have to message them quickly, but the people that would get the job were the people doing free service calls, $29 service calls.
Yeah, or the one like we saw the other day, 99 cents.
Did you see something like that?
Yeah.
I have seen. I guess that's the same thing as doing free. I mean,
it's pretty much free.
Yeah, and those people will get the job. And I just Thumbtack did have cheaper leads. Home Advisor at the time was like $30 a lead, $40 a lead. Thumbtack was like 10, 15. But I didn't like that the prices were shown. Home Advisor, people were talking crap about Home Advisor, but Home Advisor was really just who can call the first. And you would get people that didn't answer. That's ultimately why I ended up leaving. But I did get some good jobs off there. It's just people wouldn't answer, and then Home Advisor said they would credit you back if you called twice and messaged twice and you never got a response. They would refund you for that lead, but then they got to where they wouldn't. And I was like, well, I'm out because I've called twice. I've messaged twice. It's been 2 days. I've heard nothing. Sent emails through their system. I've heard nothing. If you're not going to credit me, I'm going to get off your platform.
Yeah, which we did.
Yeah. Angie's kind of got bad, but you know, if you can make AngelList work, make it work. You just have to track it to know. The Service Titan makes all this very helpful. I don't know if House Call Pro has.
You just now saw that?
Yeah, I just saw that. Thanks. I don't know if House Call Pro has all these reports, but
I mean, I feel like because even Jobber seemed like one of the more crude and simplistic, maybe not kind of simplistic softwares. Even Jobber had a small type of analytics, didn't it?
Not.
I feel like there was something we could track in it.
It didn't track average ticket, didn't track booking rate. I mean, the calls have to come through to track booking rate. It didn't track anything like that. I mean, it would track revenue. You know, I don't even think it tracked revenue per technician.
No, it didn't.
I mean, it might now, but back then it didn't.
Yeah, when we were using it, it didn't. It was just a major pain in the butt.
Yeah, it didn't track anything like that.
Jobber was okay. It's just Jobber. I don't know, and Jobber may have changed since we used it, but Jobber is great, or was great for somebody that was charging one price. Like, okay, you want this done, it's gonna be X amount of dollars. Yeah. Jobber wouldn't really let you. Jobber was very hard to change prices, add discounts, make you couldn't write options. You know, you could send estimates. You know, you could write estimates, but flexibility on it wasn't that great.
No, I think it's better for somebody mowing yards or cleaning pools or somewhere. The price is set. All you have to do is follow a route. But even then, if the reporting sucks, I would rather have something more like a House Call Pro or a Service Titan. Service Titan will do all that too. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. If you can start getting your plan together early, really early, you got to figure out what are you going to do. I mean, if you're sitting around doing nothing, I would hit up these networking groups. Get in there, start talking to people.
Yeah, really.
Go door to door. I mean, just do something, but don't. I don't know. Don't waste your money on Google right now. I mean, your market might be different too. We're in Dallas, but at least if you're going to get on it, know what the cost per click is, know what your conversion rate is, know what your KPIs are, and get a manager. Don't limit yourself to a manager just in your city. Find a good one. I did get this. Here's another little report, just a quick one from Service Titan about technicians here. What's that? Ha! What's up, Hayden? Technicians are in demand.
I don't think I looked at this chart with you.
No, I just got it here. 3/4 of those surveys said in a recent survey that there are not enough applicants. Business said there are not enough applicants. 91% of commercial contractors report moderate to high levels of difficulty finding skilled labor. 91% can't find skilled labor.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
We can find unskilled labor.
Well, that brings me to the next one here. 1 in 4, according to our research, Service Titan's research, only one skilled trade person is entering for every 4 retiring.
That's not a good ratio.
No. More people are retiring the trades than are entering. That's why 91% can't find skilled labor. We're going to have to train people, is what I think. That's what I get from this. You're going to have to be enticing. I mean, You have to create an environment that people want to work in and train them.
Sadly, some of our best people have come from already had jobs when we got them.
Yeah.
We have never. I think we're still at a 0% conversion rate off of hiring somebody off of a job listing, off of someone that wasn't already currently employed when they called.
Yeah, no one's worked out. If they didn't have a job, they did not work out. We tried it, they didn't work.
It kind of goes along with the same theory. If you're trying to date a 35 or 40-year-old woman, you're like, what's wrong with you? Kind of the same thing with guys that are looking for a job that don't have a job. Why do you not have a job?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and I got laid off. When really you get 3 months in, you're like, oh, you got laid off because your attitude sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we figured it out. Let's see. Why do techs churn?
Now, what is churn?
Why do they quit? Why do they move on?
Okay. Why didn't I just say that?
Yeah, I don't know. Just to come up with a cool word, I guess. Service Titan data shows that techs who are overbooked or underbooked are more likely to churn. What do you think about that?
I'm thinking about taking a pair of scissors and cutting that out and like making it real big and putting it over your computer is what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah, but I don't overbook y'all outside of your working hours. Just because I add one inside the working hours.
Why don't you read that last part?
I know. We're getting to there.
As I was looking earlier, I see one guy going way over here, and then the next he's going way over here.
We're getting there.
When I got a guy that's done in the middle that's in that area, and I'm like, what is this? What is going on here?
We're getting there. All right. So.
You don't want. Oh, I see. You don't want me to complain. Okay.
No, we're getting there. I'm just moving down the list. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, okay. That's what I'd say too.
So first thing, overbooked or underbooked, you got to find a balance. I think the balance is in the workday. At least by 5. If it's before 5, we can add a job, or at least, yeah, I think so. After that. What do you do? Like a regular work, you got to work a regular work day. If you can't do that, whatever, man. Like no matter where you work, you have to work at least 8 hours. You got to work 8 hours.
No.
Oh.
You got called out.
Yeah. She's supposed to be working.
See what happens.
All right, next one.
Now you're in front of the camera where we can bully you.
Weekdays are preferred. Technicians with more than 15% of their jobs falling on the weekend are 24% more likely to churn.
Wait, say that again?
Technicians with more than 15% of their jobs falling on the weekend.
Oh, well, duh. We don't work on weekends.
Yeah, we don't work weekends. Weekends are optional.
As much as even from a business point, as much sense as it does to work people, as much as, possibly people do have to live.
What do you think about having somebody who works weekends but is off like Thursday and Friday?
I always wondered about the ideology of having people in rotations, like having people on 5-day work weeks, but like rotational, like, we'll have, or maybe where like somebody works Friday through Monday. And then maybe we have some guys that work Wednesday through Sunday or, something like that. And then we have guys that work Monday through Friday.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like what if
not just, yes, we're saying the same thing, but you were saying in the sense of just 2 days. I was thinking about rotational work weeks.
Oh, I was thinking about just hiring somebody specifically to work a different shift where his 2 days off.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about is maybe when we get more people, we could say we'll give you the option if you want to choose a work week. Our base work week's Monday through Friday, but if you want, Friday through Monday,
I was thinking about this the other night about actually just go ahead and doing this very soon. Maybe even paying like a little bit higher of a salary to have somebody take either a Thursday and Friday as their weekend or a Monday and Tuesday as their weekend.
Yeah, except who's going to run the board on the weekends?
We need a CSR. Well, we can set up we can set up. We can go ahead and pre-schedule the weekends, but we might need a CSR on the weekends, so we might need 2 people.
Yeah, he's talking about you, Mrs. CSR, in the comment section.
Maybe so.
You're about to get called out big time.
Well, we might need a CSR for the weekend too, but if we just hire and say we're hiring this shift,
Yeah, we could do that.
because if you do add weekends, that's 2 more days that you can bring in revenue.
It is. I'm not saying from a business standpoint, it's a great idea.
Pay a little more.
So let's start over in the beginning. Reread the first box.
Data shows that techs who are overbooked or underbooked are more likely to churn.
All right. I just wanted you to reread it. Let's go to the last thing. That's a big thing too.
Techs who drive 50 minutes or more for about a quarter of their time are more likely to churn.
Yeah, we get tired. Sorry. Yeah, the guys don't like driving across town for work.
Well,
Because
when you live an hour outside of the nearest town.
Okay, well that's different. No, you misunderstand. I mean from job to job, not from home to first job.
Okay.
I mean from job to job to job,
yeah.
because it just seems like all you're doing is just driving.
Yeah.
You're not making revenue. You're not getting done in a decent time. You're driving.
Yeah.
There's not nothing you can do about driving from your house to work.
Yeah.
Nothing. And there's nothing you can do. There might be ways you can. I mean, there's ways we can go. There's ways that you can get around it. You know, I would have no issue asking everybody, hey, do you want to start close to home or do you want to end close to home? You know, there's ways that you can combat it, but there's ultimately nothing you're going to do to change it specifically.
Yeah, I think everybody would probably rather end close to home.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
I mean, I haven't asked anybody yet, but I'd think there'd be different ideologies.
Maybe. I feel like, yeah, I guess you just have to ask and see. But that can be hard to do. You can't do that every day, but you can try to do it most days.
No, well, yeah, you can try. Yeah, that's the thing. You can try to do it. You can set the route up that way.
Yeah, you'll have some customers that just have to be in the morning, or something like that. But yeah, I guess if you could, aside from getting to the first job, if you can keep that route. But like we talked about too. I mean, if you can get the right technician to the right job, I'm okay with a longer drive time. In a perfect world, if they have a longer drive time, but they're running less jobs.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we send the right person to the right job type, and then they make the most amount of money at that job, but then they don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah, or they only have to do 2 or 3 jobs
Yeah.
instead of that 4th job.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good stuff. Here's this. In the same survey, 17% of departing technicians said the reason they left was for better training opportunities. And I've heard this.
That's a good one, because that means they found a better place to go that will teach them more.
Yeah, I've heard this a ton. People actually want to learn and to continue to develop. There's a podcast I was listening to, and I think like the CEO asked one of their technicians, like, what's the one thing you want? They were asking like their top guys, what's the one thing you want? Within gave them a budget. It was like, what do y'all want? And they said, we want more training. Like they went and found like, here's some courses, here's some continuing education. This is what we want. And they chose that over of like just a bonus or anything. Like they chose, I want to go take this course. Here's this conference out here. Will you fly me to that? Like things like that. But they actually want to continue to get better. And that's actually a big thing.
Well, when you're working off a commission rate, a lot of that's what you want is to be better.
Mm-hmm.
We only have like 1 or 2 guys that don't want to get better. They just want to do nothing.
Yeah.
We're working on that, though.
Yeah, we are working on that. Really, if you send in here, for a lot of the guys out there, if you set up a good pay for performance,
Incentivize.
Yeah, if you're really incentivizing your technicians and have a good pay structure, then you're going to have to make sure you give them everything they need to succeed. Because if you set all that up, but then you're not helping them hit it, well, then what's the point?
Yeah, kind of like, when Eric came from that other company, he was like, yeah, they just, 7 to 7 had to do this. No. And he was like, there's the guys that were helping me were getting as much as I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, why am I going to go the extra mile when, it's kind of like the same thing, a lot of companies, their pay has had to get competitive over the years. And, and that's another big problem you have is you get people that have been with the company a long, long time. And then you got entry level guys coming in making more.
Yeah.
But that's the world in a nutshell now. I mean, it's no different. You look at cell phone companies, they're the same way. That's one thing that I've learned as far as stuff like that goes when it comes to cell phone, satellite TV. Don't as soon as sign the contract, as soon as the contract's up, go somewhere else. If you got Dish, go DirecTV. If you got AT&T, go to Verizon. You're going to get the best deal being a new customer. You're not going to get if you've been a customer for 12 years, you're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about you because they got you.
Yeah.
They're offering new customers like, hey, sign up for this, $60 a month line. We'll give you a free phone.
Mm-hmm.
Customer at 12 years, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
The best that they might do is tell you to switch plans.
Yeah, they'll only give it to you if you call and say you want to cancel.
Especially if and I'm one of these people too, but I understand it. And when the time comes, you can use this to your advantage. When you're walking through Walmart or wherever you're at and you see one of those like sales guys, like one of the Spectrum guys or like the Metro PCS guys, like when you're ready to do it, make it work in your favor. Like, okay, sell me, make me a customer, give me a good deal. I'm paying this much or I'm doing this. What do you got? Mm-hmm. You're always going to get the best deal in the tech world as a new customer, not as a 12-year-old customer.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's no different with salaries. I know a lot of guys that have done stuff for 10 plus years and they get pissed off and quit because the new guys are getting better pay than they are. And these new guys are coming in with these guys that have been there for 10 years and they're getting paid more and they don't know anything. And then the guy that's been there for 10 years is like, well, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's terrible.
That gives you a turnover rate right there because then he's going to start looking for another job where he can take his experience and try to make that much money somewhere else.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening. Now, I mean, with a good pay for performance, we try to keep it equal across the board. And what people earn is up to them, really. The effort you put in correlates with how much you get out. Hayden asked, how do you feel about sending a guy out for one job a day? Well, that's what Lone Star does. At least they only book you one job at a time.
Yeah, that's right. He did say that. Or Garrett did say that. Mm-hmm. They let their guys get up and they schedule one job a day because they found, and we don't necessarily agree with the ideology or not. Maybe we do. We do a little bit.
Yeah, we never tried it. I don't really know.
We never tried it. We don't totally agree with it, but it's kind of like, there's a lot of things that, we may not agree on, but we can understand that there might be some success there. And this was one of the things. Their whole ideology was, hey, let's meet for coffee every day or, once a pay period or whatever they're doing.
I think they're meeting every morning.
Yeah, getting gas, talking with
they don't
everybody.
even schedule your job until he sees you that morning.
Yeah. And then what he'll do is he'll schedule you one job, go to that job, do your work, and then as soon as you complete it, you get another one. And what they found is they had a higher success rate on guys not thinking they have control of their day. Actually,
I really do like that. I think in Service Titan, I can change the visibility of your future jobs. So we could actually still schedule all the way out, but then make it to where you can't see your future appointments.
Oh, you can.
So it takes away the work of it takes away the extra work of the dispatching, but gets the same effect because you can't see.
Yeah, the guys on the end can't see it, and they won't see it until they complete it.
Yeah, I do like it.
Well, and that gives you, because you don't never know if it's always hidden, you don't know what's after it. Which might, if I'm sitting here watching dispatch board and I got my, this guy, job one, all right, let's take one job at a time. If you can't do anything else, I'll deal with that.
Yeah, that's the only thing is if they hit out there and they get a big job, you got to be willing to let them run that job the rest of the day.
Well, and that would probably cut down, and I'm guilty of this too. That would also cut down on people saying, "Hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it to that next one." When in reality, they end up very much being able to make it.
Yeah,
I'm very guilty of that, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. They say, "Oh, I can't. Yeah, I can't make it. I'm gonna be here the rest of the day." Next thing you know, it's 2:30 and they're done. And like,
You've been home for 45 minutes, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
Thought that was gonna take you the rest of the day. Oh yeah, I was able to get it done faster than I thought.
Well, to be fair, there has been times where it's been necessary to prepare for the worst.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's just like I don't want to take that job off until we know for sure.
I know. I know how you operate.
Yeah.
I've been working with you for a while. You're very impatient.
Well, we want to give the customers a good experience. Why cancel that job if we can make it?
Well, and I think, and that's something. Oh, that was something we missed on invoicing customers on site. Is I told on one of the comment threads, one of the guys, I was telling him, hey, we collect on site, customer needs to be there, and the guy's like, well, none of my customers are ever there. Well, one, why aren't they there? Because you should be telling them they should be there, and if you're not, then you need to be setting up availability windows, which is something we struggled with for a while, getting that right.
Yeah, why wouldn't his customers be there?
Probably because he's not Probably because he's like every other contractor in the world that says, "I'll be there Monday," and the customer's like, "Okay, what do you mean Monday? I'll be there Monday."
I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can.
You'd be surprised how many. I see it all the time. Just the other day, I went to a job. They wanted a bunch of reroute stuff done. The guy, I come to the customer's house, and the customer greets me, and it was like, "Hey, I need to show you this. We got to reroute all the stuff we get back there." And she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know the guy was going to come paint the fence today. He said he was going to be here tomorrow."
Mm.
And it's like, now I can't do anything because now I can't run the sprinklers. This guy's out here painting a freaking fence, all because his communication was poor.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I guarantee you, that happens more often than not. Because, and I know what it comes from. Okay, well, I'll be there. I got planned to be there Wednesday. You get out Tuesday, you get done early, or you're like, oh, I'm in the area. I'm going to swing by and get this done. The contractors are trying to keep everything in their board, keep it under their control.
But yeah, well, I mean, that's fine, but don't show up if they're not going to be there. Why are you there? I mean, is all of your customers opening remotely? They're opening their garage remotely? I don't know. Or is the area he in, they all have outdoor timer? Like, I just don't.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Well, I would bet where he was up north, they probably do have quite a bit of outside timers. But I mean, still, that doesn't change the fact. You still need the customer there.
Yeah, customer needs to be there.
I mean,
especially on estimates too. And you would think like maybe on an estimate they don't need to. The estimate is
that's the most critical thing.
Yeah, that is the most critical thing. The larger the ticket, the harder it is to sell when you're not there. Why? You have to have somebody there. Why go walk a property for 30 minutes to send them a $5,000 estimate and leave and just hope? Your conversion rate is going to be so low. You're not in the business. We're not in the business of giving estimates.
Yeah, unless you're going to give them an estimate that has like, all right, you write it out as a line item, all this work, $5,000. Unless you do that, they're going to look at that estimate, call somebody else like, hey, these guys quoted me this. Can you beat it?
Yeah, you had the idea, and I was just reading on Tommy Mello's Facebook group. One of the, actually, a couple of these people were saying they don't even send estimates.
Oh, I've stopped doing that.
Yeah, they don't send estimates. I've
had people beg and beg. I don't send them no more because I know what they're doing with them. The big property I worked, the lady was like, "Oh, can you send me the estimate? I think I'm gonna have my gardener do some of it." No, no.
Here's a price.
And I still get people who like, you got to make it. It's still situational for me right now, but a lot of times I won't send them, and they get mad. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not just gonna give you. I'm just gonna give you my price. You were here. I told you the price. Told you what it was gonna be. We went through everything together. You understood it. No, I'm not giving you a copy of it. I'll give you a copy of the receipt once you pay for it with everything on it. And I'll go over it with you before I start the work. I'll go over it with you again right now if that's what you want. I'm not giving you an estimate.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was just your idea, but apparently a lot of people are doing that.
Well, yeah, because all you're doing is you're giving the fuel to somebody else. If you come in at $5,000, right? They call another company. The customer will be like, "Well, I got another quote. It was about $5,000 or whatever it was. What can you do?" All they got to do is say, "Well, I can come in at 48." Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And if we hit them at 5 and that customer is going to tell you they got an estimate for 4, and then you're going to say, "Oh, I'll do it for 37 or 35." And now you're $1,500 lower than we were. And you never, because they're not going to show you. If you say, "Oh, can I see the estimate?" No, they're not going to show it to you. How often do you actually get to see?
You don't. Every time I've asked for one, I've never gotten it.
Yeah. Very rarely. Very rarely. Every now and then. I think like we had like 1 or 2 customers this year that have sent me a copy of the estimate they got and said, "I just got this estimate. Here it is. Can you beat it? Do you think this?" But even then, they're doing exactly what you talked about. They just sent me the estimate and said, and one of them I got, and I looked at it and I just told them, I think that's a pretty good price. I'm going to be the same price.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, okay." I mean, yeah, I think that probably not even send the estimates. Or if you're with the husband, you need to send it to the wife. Get them on the phone. Let's talk it over right then.
Get them in front of you. Like, why are these guys on these pages not collecting on site?
Yeah, why are the customers not there?
Why are we worried about leads now? It's too late. It's way too late. But
they get so caught up in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We missed half of the live stream, but we'll post the actual whole episode.
Yeah, we'll get it posted out. And if y'all have any other questions, you can comment on here. You can go to our website, submit it to us, email us. We'll answer them on the next episode, or I'll email you back. But all right, well, see y'all next week.